1, 2, 1, 2. Welcome to Beacon of Speech. I'm Fred Hunt. Across the table from me is Ted Coley. Hi, Ted Coley.
Hello, Fred Hunt.
How are you today?
Awesome.
Awesome. I do not believe it. For the last 10 minutes, we've been trying the lighting. We don't do Beacon of Speech during the day very often. We're like roaches.
Well,
you have to
at
chase
my
them.
house we do, but...
Well, yeah. Well, even because it was winter when we did it at your house, a lot of times we would start during the day and it'd be at night.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're doing it in the middle of the day, which is very rare for us. And as you can see, the sun is trying to come at us on Beacon of Speech.
Mm-hmm.
But we're blocking it out because I am just a big giant roach today. So, what roachy things am I going to say? Do you have any idea what we're going to talk about?
No, it seems to be getting darker again.
Yeah, because what's happening is if you look, the blinds are moving, okay? The cat does not want to move. It wants to sit by the sun. And so if you watch while we're talking, here, put your hands up to the camera. Your hands are there. Your hands are there. The blinds are moving. The cat doesn't want to move. So what's happening is the light is coming in and changing everything. So what we should do is move the cat, and then if you hear a giant meow, you'll see what's going on. And we're not abusing the cat. The cat is very fast. Oh, now she's mad. She's meowing at me. No, you got to move. You're blocking our light. If my daughter was here, she'd be like, don't call the cat fat. Even though it... Would you say that's a fat cat, Ted? Yeah, she's trying to get the
like
blinds open.
Like my cat.
Was your cat that fat?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, see, we have two cats. That cat is fat. The other cat is spry. That's the good cat.
Which one is?
The spry one. This one is the one that causes trouble. And now the cat's looking at me like I don't cause trouble. So, we don't want to talk about cats all day, do we, Ted? Beacon of Speech number 44, the cat episode. That'll be our highest rated one yet. Hey, you're making noise. We can hear you doing that. Now here comes the dog. Great. What we're going to talk about today is Fox News. Ted Coley loves Fox News. I do not have cable anymore, so I cannot watch Fox News. Starting on Monday, starting tomorrow, Ted Coley, are you watching Fox News anymore?
I said I wasn't going to, but I have been watching it. Not a lot, but... You know.
Now, who is on Fox News who replaced Bill O'Reilly?
Tucker Carlson.
Okay. Is he any good?
Yeah, he's all right.
Are you going to go out of your way to watch him?
Not out of my way, but...
Do you miss Megyn Kelly?
No.
Sean Hannity. Do you watch Sean Hannity?
No. Sean Hannity's kind of repetitious. Sometimes I listen to his radio show, though.
Sean Hannity announced this week that one person said that he made sexual advances towards him. He said he is going to sue every liberal media outlet that reported that story because it is manufactured and it's fake news. Now, I have no doubts in my mind that Bill O'Reilly was harassing those women. No doubts in my mind. Okay? He's going to let the truth out once somebody pays him. And we talked a little bit about that on the last Beacon of Speech. Right? But I do not believe that Sean Hannity harassed anybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the analogy of, I don't think he's harassing anybody. I don't think... You get the... Bill O'Reilly has a certain charisma. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah.
And Sean Hannity has a certain repulsion. Which goes back to Hannity and Combs. Part of the reason Hannity and Combs was successful is because Combs would kind of balance out Hannity's annoyingness. Does that make sense? Kind of like you balance out my annoyingness. Okay?
Well, Alan Combs, I generally didn't agree with his political views, but he was a funny guy.
Yeah. Well, and that's the whole point, is you needed something to balance out the bombast. And poor Alan Combs died not that long ago, and, he wasn't remembered as fondly as he should have been for being a, commentator of his stature.
Well, I remember a few years ago, Bill O'Reilly had Alan Combs on his show, and they showed a clip of Alan Combs doing stand-up from, like, the 80s, because he was a comedian.
Right.
And Bill O'Reilly said to him, he goes, you look the same. He goes, same dopey expression. Combs goes, well, thank you.
Okay.
What was that?
Quinn is trying to FaceTime us while we're doing Beacon of Speech. That's what was beeping. So we put decline. Okay.
What's that song, Mr. Sandman?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, now we missed. What she's basically doing is she got an iPhone, so she wants to do FaceTime while we're doing Beacon of Speech. So I don't think she has any questions about Alan Combs. Do you?
Does she know who Alan Combs was?
No, I have no. She has no interest in Alan Combs. But the funny part of it is that there's lots of real news in the world. North Korea, Trump, and everything. And it seems like what's going on in these news stations, they're trying to find their identity in what they believe in. Well, Fox News basically believes in subjugation of women and sexual harassment. And they're like, well, you can't do that. And they're like, why not? And so basically the crap has hit the fan over there. Now, at the same time, it's like a football season, right? If you're screwing up, you think your opponent would do.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Did I? Because I only heard a little snippet of it. But is there also some racial allegations coming out about Fox News too?
Yes, I've heard the rumblings and things I've read. But again, that doesn't surprise me. Everybody says how horrible it was, but again, it's number one in the nation. You know what I mean? They're making certain connections with what they have. And their business model, as horrible as it may seem, they're making money at it. And let me give you an example. Fox News, they're getting into all kinds of trouble. Basically, what was Roger Ailes? He was their vice president?
I guess.
But he set a culture for Fox News, right? And I'm saying it's wrong. But what I'm saying is, in his mind, it's not about wrong or right, it's about money. So in his mind, he's like, oh, well, that's the culture I set up and we made all this money. What's wrong? In his mind, in Roger Ailes' deluded mind, he thinks he did nothing wrong because he made Fox News a ton of money. If he harassed some women, well, the means meet the ends, which goes back to a lot of Republicans, the social experiment of corporations. They don't care about what's wrong or right. They care about making money. And Roger Ailes, at the end of the day, doesn't understand what all the hubbub is. And I guarantee you that Bill O'Reilly's like, well, those women were there and they're beautiful, and it was part of the culture. You see what I'm saying? And what the left is saying, well, is that shouldn't be part of the culture, and I agree. Sexual harassment should not be part of the culture. In their mind, in Fox News' mind, though, all these people are randomly harassing them because they hate them. You know what I mean? Well, it goes back to corporations don't care. They care about money.
I would like to know specifically what the sexual harassment was.
Well, and that's the whole thing. And, we're talking about sexual harassment. I'm going to stick up for Bill O'Reilly because
and I could be wrong about this, but I'm getting the feeling that definitions are expanding.
Well, and that's the whole thing. Bill O'Reilly was not Bill Cosby. He wasn't knocking him out and taking him back to the dressing room unconscious. You see what I'm saying? What the sexual harassment...
Maybe Bill Cosby could get a job on Fox News.
But what they're saying is that...
Maybe he could take Bill O'Reilly's son.
But what they're saying is sexual harassment is also the culture that you cultivate. Okay? Well, you shouldn't be sexual harassing women, right? But what Fox News' argument is that, well, we didn't have sex with them. Well, but that's a bad argument. You see what I'm saying? Like, you have to retrain their little brains. Okay? And that's why, Megyn Kelly said that, she couldn't wait to leave because they had cultivated a culture. Well, you were part of that culture. You navigated those waters, and we talked about Katie Couric, right? How they said, how do you feel about, who was I just talking about? Megyn Kelly. How do you feel about Megyn Kelly coming over? She was like this. Because she knows that she was another Fox News shark. The reason that Megyn Kelly rose to the top is the corporate climate. She was another shark in Fox News. Mm-hmm. The whole bunch of them were a bunch of sharks. I feel bad for the makeup artists and publicists and people who work behind the scenes that you never saw anything. Mm-hmm. But what I'm trying to get at is Fox News is not unique. It's a corporate culture. It's not a Fox News culture. Okay? On the other end of the spectrum, and this is what I'm getting at, Fox News had this horrible culture. CNN should have been able to say, holy cow, there are a bunch of deplorable human beings at Fox News. We're going to take advantage of it. Well, today on CNN, their number one story was the White House Correspondents' Dinner, right?
When was that this weekend?
Yeah. And basically...
And Donald Trump was not there.
Donald Trump was not there. So the lead story is there were two speeches. Donald Trump was in Pennsylvania talking to the common man, right? Schlubs like Ted Coley and Fred Hunt.
That's right.
And at the New York Correspondents' Dinner, it was filled with liberals making fun of Trump. And the top story was a Muslim comedian who's like 20 years old who eviscerated Trump. Okay? Well, people in middle America, do they want to read about a liberal comedian eviscerating Donald Trump at the Correspondents' Dinner? And CNN treated them as equals. 28-year-old Muslim comedian, Donald Trump. They're not quite equals. And part of the reason that CNN is losing their viewers to a deplorable place like Fox News is because they don't care. They are advancing. I'm going to move this up and see if this helps. They're trying to advance their agenda, right? And everybody can see it as plain as day. Well, Fox News is wrong that they shouldn't be fostering, basically, do anything for ratings. We don't care what our personalities do. We don't care what our president does. We don't care what Bill O'Reilly does. We don't care what Sean Hannity does. We literally do not care as long as we make money hand over fist, which is how corporations are. CNN at this point is like, I don't understand why people aren't lapping up our agenda. So they're both in the wrong, but they're in the wrong in two different ways. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. But neither one of them, if you ask Roger Ailes today, he'd be like, I still don't understand why they fired me. I'm sorry, this lighting, this is going to be our most horribly, we're learning about how Fred Hunt messes everything up. Let's see if this casts some of... Now, here comes the cat to open the things back up.
So she saw what you were doing and she said, this is not acceptable.
Yeah, so Fox News cannot police themselves, and CNN cannot actually just report the news. You see what I'm saying?
You can't police your own show.
That's right, I can't police my own show. Now the dog... Hey, come on up here. Come on here. Come here. Here, come here. This is why we can't police our own show. See this dog right here? He wants to get in on the act. He's going to start barking as soon as we let him out. And so, like I said, right now Fox News is making... Yeah, I know, you want to go out. Fox News is making fun of Beacon of Speech, saying they can't even pay attention to the camera. Okay. Which goes back to, mind your own house. Okay? Those in glass houses shouldn't throw rocks, right? Right now, Bill O'Reilly is watching this episode, and he's laughing at us. He's saying, I would never let my dogs interrupt my show. Okay? But there's a reason for this. And there's a reason that I keep pounding on these news people. Alex Jones, we were talking about this right before we started. He doesn't work for Fox, right? He works for... Oh, geez. He works basically for AlexJones.net or AlexJones.com or whatever, right?
I don't know.
His radio network. And he's in divorce proceedings. And
do you know if this is his first marriage?
oh, geez, I don't even know, because I don't listen to Alex Jones, but I've been following it on like Daily Beast.
See,
and
this
stuff.
is a show where we need Joey G.
Yeah. But so Alex Jones. Oh crap! I shut the wrong window. I was wondering why it felt like we just got put in the oven. Okay. There we go. Is that better?
Yeah, no, that's good.
So Alex Jones.
So the cat thinks you opened the screen door right there.
Yeah, so now here comes the cat again. So Alex Jones, he's in divorce proceedings. His wife wants half of everything. He basically says, you don't get half of everything. She goes, I want to control the kids. He says, no, you don't get the kids, because if I take care of the kids, then I don't have to pay as much. You know, the old thing.
He can do it cheaper.
And so in the divorce proceedings, Alex Jones's lawyer says, listen, part of the Alex Jones enigma is that he plays a character. That's not the real Alex Jones. Please give him his kids. Well, he sells himself as the real deal. How can you sell yourself as the real deal and be a character? You know what I mean? You're Ted Hunt. I said Ted Hunt. You're Ted Coley. I'm Fred Hunt, right? We don't play characters. I say what's on my mind. I write down what's on my mind. I bug you all the time, even off the show. I call Ted, and he's doing stuff. I'm like, Ted, I have an idea. And you're like, oh, my God, will he stop calling me? Right? And so what I think is what I think. Now, I might change my mind a lot. You know, on Beacon of Speech, we're talking about the Browns, and, like, I contradict myself in 3 places. But, you know, that's flow of consciousness. Okay? Alex Jones is playing this ultra-right character, which in theory should kill his show, because he presents himself as Alex Jones, the guy. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In all of these things, Alex Jones is basically trying to hustle you to buy his vitamins, his bulk, his vitamin mass kit, and whatever else. He's a carnival huckster, is all he is. Buy my stuff so I can be a character and make a ton of money. Okay? Now, it goes back to, his lawyer goes, well,
that's America.
Yeah, well, and his lawyer argues, well...
What's the matter, Fred? Don't you like capitalism?
Yeah. Well, and that's the whole thing. Fox News, which goes back, if Roger Ailes was sitting right there, and Bill O'Reilly was sitting right there, and Alex Jones was sitting over there, the 3 of them, they'd be like, this is America. This is capitalism. What is your problem? Are you a fascist? Are you a socialist? Are you a communist? And then they would throw names at me and see which one would stick. Which, remind me to come back to this, because I want to come back. Okay? The Pope attacked Fred Hunt this week. Not Ted Coley, he attacked Fred Hunt.
See?
Did you?
I told you about him. We've been Pope-free for a while.
Did you hear what the Pope said this week?
No, I didn't.
The Pope said there is a rising tide in America and Europe, and it's very upsetting to the Pope and to the Vatican. Do you know what that rising tide is?
Rising tide of...
You'll get kicked out of this.
Of annoying webcast?
No, that's coming next week. The annoying trend that the Pope is warning Western civilization about is libertarianism.
You see?
Libertarianism, because the left cares about people, right? And the reason they care about people is because...
They don't care about conservatives, though.
No, but they care. They care about the poor people. Okay? The left cares about the poor people. And the rich, they care about building big corporations. Okay? Now, what the Pope says is that these big corporations should be better citizens, and I agree. And it goes back to Fox News policing themselves. Well, they're not going to police themselves as long as they're making money hand over fist. Just like McDonald's. If people weren't looking at McDonald's and saying, your food is horrible, they would never put salads on the menu. Would you say that's fair? Mm-hmm. They would have never put salads on the McDonald's menu of their own volition. Well, it's the same thing.
They still have salads on their menu, right?
Yeah.
Do you know how well they sell?
No, they sell horrible. And basically, they sell salads in order to say that we sell salads. I guarantee... I wish I could do an investigative report.
So
I
some people don't go to McDonald's for salads.
Correct. But they want to be able to say that they sell them to say we have healthy alternatives. Come eat our hamburgers or our healthy alternatives. Well, we can't help it that nobody buys our healthy alternatives, right? But we have them. They can never take it off the menu. So they literally throw millions of dollars worth of salads away because they have expiration dates and everything. But they want to be able to say that they sell them. Right, just like Fox News used to say, well, we have liberals, right? There's one right over there. You know, Combs, right? He's our token liberal, right? So the Pope said libertarianism is a scourge of Western civilization. Now, why is libertarianism a scourge? I'm asking you this. Why does the Pope think that?
Well, is libertarianism basically like just leave me alone and let me do what I want?
Yeah, take the government and the government. We don't need government. You do what you want. I do what I want. We do our own thing, right? Mm-hmm. Why is that bad?
Well, because you're not helping your fellow man.
Right, because libertarianism is the ultimate individuality. Okay, now,
but the thing is that all these people you can throw politics out of it. People can help each other. Just on their own.
No, they won't.
Okay, so yeah, you have to be forced. You have to be forced to be compassionate.
No, yes, basically the Pope is saying. Now, when I say I am not a hardcore libertarian, people say, "Oh, you can't be a libertarian." Libertarians think no government, no nothing, Lord of the Flies. Okay, I already know how that game ends. Okay, Fred Hunt is like libertarianism light. Okay. You want to smoke pot? That's fine. You want to do heroin? No. Here's the line. Right between heroin and there's got to be lines. All right? So there's certain lines. When I say they were like, well, Fred, what you are is a Republican. I'm like, no, I'm not, because Republicans are basically capitalism, right? That giant corporation is a person, and that giant corporation's a person, and that other giant corporation's a person. Whereas libertarianism is like, no, that corporation is a corporation. You are an individual, and that corporation is a corporation. Republicans believe that corporation's a person too. And again, there's a very clear delineation. Because that poor corporation, they need to be subsidized. Well, no, you don't. Fred Hunt, you want that poor corporation to die? Well, in the free market, they don't get subsidies, and then they die. Just like people die, and I'm sorry to break this to you, Ted, but one day you're going to die, I'm going to die, right? Mm-hmm. Your lifespan is probably about 85 years, because you take good care of yourself. Yeah. I'll probably be dead by the end of this webcast. Okay. Well, no, one of Cliff's best, Cliff from the movie?
Yes.
One of his best friends, 47 years old, just this past week, just fell over a heart attack.
Oh, man.
And again...
Is this somebody he worked with?
No, one of the guys he would do the fun run or whatever with him.
Wow, 47.
47, same age as me, 1 year younger than you?
2 years younger than me.
2 years younger than you.
Wow.
So as you can see the veins in my neck popping, okay, my life expectancy is ticking down, tick, 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 okay? But, again... You have an end game. There's a day when you will die.
Yes.
There's a day I will die. Well, IBM doesn't need to live for 200 years. If it is an individual, it has an expiration date. Just like, no, it doesn't. No, Iron Mountain's going to live forever. One of our, we have a coworker, and he thinks that even if Iron Mountain had no customers, he would still get paid because he did everything his bosses told him. Okay, and we won't name his name. Okay, but corporations have expiration dates, and just like people get welfare, corporations get welfare. It's very, so libertarianism differs from Republicans saying, well, if you can't make it in the marketplace, well, then you're going to go belly up, just like one day I will die and one day you'll die.
So there are corporations that get money from the government, and it's not people twisting things and saying, oh, since they reduce their taxes, that's like...
Right.
So they are... It's not just a tax reduction.
Right. Corporations get certain subsidies.
Okay.
Now, I don't have the corporate
You know what
list
I'm
in
getting
front of
at?
me.
How
Yes.
people twist like the meaning
Right.
of things, like they try to make it seem like if you cut somebody's taxes, that's like the government giving them money,
Right.
when it's really not.
Right. Now, people might say, well, Fred, you're not a real libertarian. I'm like, I'm not. What I am, it's like what I believe in is the closest. I take those surveys on the web all the time.
Are you
the
give
closest?
me some examples of corporations who get subsidies?
I just read a couple weeks ago, like Boeing, in order to compete with airplane manufacturers in other countries, they don't want Boeing to go belly up. So the American taxpayer gives Boeing billions of dollars to make sure we have our own.
Now, okay, let's say, for argument's sake, they give Boeing $10 billion in subsidies.
Right.
But if Boeing pays $15 billion in taxes,
Right.
then it's not really a subsidy. You know what I'm saying? So they're...
Well, but I understand what you're saying. I have the numbers in front of me. You know what? I'll look it up. I'm going to write it down. We're going to look up Boeing and see how right or wrong I am. Because maybe Boeing is...
maybe what I'm saying, maybe there's nothing,
And the other thing is, because...
I'm saying that I don't know, and I just don't trust what I hear.
Right. Oh, and that's fair. But
because everybody has an agenda.
Right. And that's the whole thing. And that's why we talk about it, Beacon of Speech. That's why we talk about, I don't know, maybe Boeing is the best company.
Everything's a shell game.
Everything's a shell game. Everything
we'll take
moves
this
over
money,
there.
we'll put it here, and
right.
And then if we don't like you, we'll call you, this or...
Right. Oh, but so the Pope attacked libertarianism, right? Because they said it's the ultimate individual. Well, at the end of the day, yes, because individuals is what we have, right? And what they're saying is you have to do something for the greater good. Well, we'll go back to Fox News. Is working at Fox News working for the greater good? That poor lady who's getting sexually harassed as a makeup artist. Well, no. And you could take it to the left. Well, what you're doing is taking away, the left's people who attack the left all the time is if you get...
Well, Fox News would say, hey, we provided a job for her.
We provide, which is exactly right. But we're
job creators.
Yeah, we're job creators. We created jobs. Well,
and it's a free market. If that lady doesn't like it, she can go work somewhere else.
Right, she can go work at CNN. Well, CNN is not making enough money to hire her. Everything is a catch-22. Mm. Everybody's argument is, if you don't like it here, go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'm going to start my own company, like Beacon of Speech. Well, you don't get money for that. Good luck for that. And so the Pope attacked libertarianism because it's the ultimate in individuality. But I would tell the Pope, well, okay, Pope, and I'm being honest, you don't question the Pope, okay? So when you step on his cape, you realize that there's a chance you're going to go to hell, okay? But he said that just a few years ago, the Pope, I can't remember if it was this Pope or the last one, but they said the greatest problem in the world was unchecked capitalism. And now this Pope says the greatest problem is libertarianism, okay? Which goes back to what Rush Limbaugh keeps saying, is that we have a socialist Pope, okay? Now, I don't agree with Rush Limbaugh, but we'll go with his premise as a socialist Pope. Why doesn't the Pope come out and say, listen, the solution is socialism, right? Well, I don't think socialism's the answer. Do you think socialism's the answer?
No.
No.
I mean, in theory it works, but in practice it doesn't.
Because you get the same knuckleheads in charge of socialists who are like, when we talk about socialism, we mean socialism for the masses, not socialism for the leaders.
Yeah, and all these socialists think it fails because the right people aren't in charge.
Right.
It should be me.
Yeah, if I was in
it's
if the Pope was in charge,
which is what we deal with every day, in the world,
right?
With everything.
And again, the people in charge don't want to give it up because we worked 400 times harder than you. But it's the same. Everything is basically the same pyramid scheme. Mm-hmm. And this is what I even wrote in my book, American Suicide. Every single thing in the world is the pyramid scheme. Well, if you're on the bottom, I don't want to be on the bottom. I want all the benefits of the top. Well, if you build 1 million pyramids, you have 1 million people on top, but 1 billion people on the bottom. That's how pyramid schemes work, every single one of them. And so the Pope is saying, well, libertarian isn't working because there's no top of the pyramid. Everybody's, basically at the bottom. Well, Rush Limbaugh would say, well, yeah, that doesn't work because then it's basically socialism. Everybody's poor. He's like, well, then how does the world get run? I don't know. How about what I'm saying, the rich are people like Bill O'Reilly, who's like, I am going to sexually harass every woman that comes in my thing because I make more money and they won't fire me. Or Alex Jones, who says, I'm going to create a character so I can build it up, and all these sheep think, that all I got to do is listen to me. And they're not the only ones. Tomi Lehren, okay? She basically got on the blaze by being a good-looking conservative. She basically bypassed everything, and then when she wasn't a pure conservative, they fired her, right? Her story keeps going on. I keep reading that she's in negotiation with guess who to get a job?
Bill O'Reilly?
Fox News. She's in negotiations because they're trying to change the culture, and they want a good-looking young conservative. I read 2 articles that said she is literally falling up. She's falling up the ladder.
Maybe Fox News should stop getting good-looking women on there.
Well, but that's the whole thing. Do you see... Okay, me and you, we leave the webcast right now, okay? Screw this. We're not doing Beacon of Speech anymore. We run up to Walmart. How many of those girls look like Tomi Lehren?
0.
0. Okay? Now, you are going back to the presentation of we are packaging the news as a product. Okay? Why don't you... How about this, Fox News? What we're going to do is we're going to take all the resumes. We're going to take 1 million resumes, okay? And we're going to take them. We're going to do analytics, okay? Just like in the pro football. And it doesn't matter what you look like. Your picture is not allowed to be on the resume. Your age, your nothing. Yeah. All you can do is put down your qualifications, and a resume. Mm-hmm. And the only thing it can say is that you are a woman because the best qualified woman is going to get this job. Okay? Do you think that woman's going to look like Tomi Lehren?
No.
No. Which goes back to, well, people want to see Tomi Lehren types on the news. Well, how do you know? Well, that's what we want to see because we're all a bunch of, sexually harassing men at Fox News. Again, it's about packaging. It's about streamlining. It's about making money. It's not about the content. And like I said, people will be like, oh, well, CNN does it the exact same way. Well, that's exactly right. That's the problem. CNN is still moving.
That's why I told you we should go back to just audio.
Ted wants to go back to audio. I keep telling him, if we don't do at least some video, we're not going to make any money. And again, the end game is probably we do Beacon of Speech for 3 or 4 years. I have a massive heart attack, and then Ted is like, "Well, I guess Beacon of Speech is over." Okay, that is the progression.
I'll be like the bass player from Nirvana.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And I am hoping one day Beacon of Speech we can kick it up a notch, make a little bit of money, and add a little production value, but not lose the content of. This is what I think. I guess
that would make Joe Dave Grohl or whatever.
Yeah. Well, Joe, we love Joe, and one of these days he'll be back. But the whole point is that the saga of all these news stations goes to show that it's not about presenting the news. It's about presenting an image and its packaging. And the Pope says libertarianism is horrible. Okay, but so is pure leftism and pure rightism. You know what I mean?
So I guess what I'm saying is I don't want people to tune into our show just for our looks.
I don't think we have any worries about that. I think we're good with that. But again, now I want to keep talking about the news. USA Today. The USA Today, right here. They, just this week, I guess 15 million people online like USA Today. Well, they found out this week that 5 million of those people didn't exist. They were fake profiles. They were fake likes. They bought likes from Malaysia or Singapore or wherever, and they weren't citizens. They were fake profiles. There's people like me and you sitting in front of computers making up fake profiles and then selling the likes to corporations like USA Today, and then they base their ad rates out of reaching 15 million people. Well, you didn't reach 15 million, you reached 10 million. And they're like, oops, it was a mistake. Well, they're not giving their money back to Ford, Chevy, Mitsubishi. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So again, it's still capitalism at work. I always liked the USA Today, and as far as I'm concerned, this is a huge scandal. And they're like, well, we can't control how many people like us. And I'm like, you can't control buying fake people from Thailand? And again, they're not Thai citizens. It's not like they're giving 5 million people in Thailand. He's looking at his phone right now. It's not like they're giving 5 million people in Thailand phones with the USA Today apps on them. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They are people that do not exist. Just like Ray Merck used to have boxes that didn't exist, and he charged a customer. Well, when Ray Merck did
I don't know anything about that.
Basically what happened is there was a guy who worked at Iron Mountain. His name was Ray Merck. And Iron Mountain would sell storage space for boxes, right? Well, Ray Merck had the great idea, well, to stay ahead of the curve, we're going to take labels and we're going to charge the customers space for these labels, so when they put the boxes on the shelves, then they'll be ready, and we'll just start charging them since we printed up these labels. Well, that's stuff because
so
the boxes
they're going to need
exist.
these boxes, so we'll just make the labels.
We'll make the labels, and then we'll start charging them now in anticipation of their growth.
Projecting.
We are projecting. Well, what he was doing is basically stealing, because the space, there were no boxes. All there were labels in a book, right? And Ray Merck would be like, oh, I wasn't stealing.
I do have to think outside the box.
I wasn't stealing. I was anticipating growth, and I was getting ahead of the curve. So as soon as, right. So in Ray Merck,
this is why I would never be successful as a businessman.
And that's the whole thing, which goes back to Fox News, right? We're not doing anything wrong. We are making money. Ray Merck, in his head, he doesn't think he was stealing from those corporations, because he was thinking ahead of the curve. You see what I'm saying? And again, no, you're stealing. Those boxes did not exist, and you charged those companies for space that did not exist.
So it would kind of be like my cable company charging me for channels that I don't get yet.
Right.
Like, we're going to get you to get those channels.
Yes.
We'll just start charging you now.
Yes.
Because we know we're going to wear you down, and you're going to...
Right. But cable companies all corporations do different things. Your cable company charges you for channels that you never watch. Why can't you have a la carte? Why can't you just pick the 8 channels you want to watch? Because they don't make money that way.
Well, not only that, there's going to be about half the channels that are just going to go away then.
Exactly.
Because nobody watches them.
Exactly, which goes back to the pyramid scheme. Now all these corporations are cutting back. And again, I'm picking on Fox News, but they're not unlike all the other corporations. Once you have thousands of people in your pyramid, you can't control them all. You can't, there's going to be little dark sections of your corporation that you can't manage. I'm sorry. Ted is like, oh. But it goes back to all these news corporations are exactly that. News corporations. They're trying to sell you the news. They're not reporting the news. There's very few. Now, what's not agenda driven? I think of like AP, right? They just report the news and then you buy it from the AP network, right? But the big ones, like Fox News, they have to rely on people like Bill O'Reilly to drive ad revenue, which again is your capitalist model. And, the Pope disapproves. He disapproves of that. He disapproves of me. The Pope disapproves of me coming on the air and talking to you about libertarianism. Okay? Now, you wouldn't think he would. I feel really bad.
I tried to warn you about him.
This might be our last week in a speech, but this is exactly what he's talking about. What he wants is he wants to move to socialism. Because, again, the Pope is like, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you what not to do. Don't do capitalism, and don't do libertarianism, and don't do fascism. Maybe socialism is good. But I'm only going to tell you what not to do. But again, the Pope runs the Vatican City. And now I'm not saying anything the Pope says about Jesus or anything is wrong. I'm not going straight to hell. Okay? As soon as we get done, we're not hopping on the bus and going straight to hell. Okay? What I'm saying is that the Pope has to run the Vatican City. And the Vatican City is loaded with old white men and a few minorities. Okay? There's a big difference between running Vatican City and running a country. And he's like, oh, no, we took in 8 refugees. Oh, yay, you took in 8 refugees. Germany, you need to take in 1 million. We'll take in 8 at the Vatican City. Vatican City doesn't have any children. Where are you going to send the kids? The whole, the Pope doesn't understand the logistics of...
Oh, he's a big picture guy.
Yeah, I'm a big picture guy. Now, all of his teachings, I'm not arguing any of that. But when it comes to governing... He is in the thing that basically, and again, I don't agree totally with Rush Limbaugh saying he's a socialist pope. But how? Okay, Pope, we're going to listen to everything you say. What do you want us to do? Right? Well, give to the poor. Okay, well, what if the poor don't want to work? Well, the poor, of course, want to work. If you just give them jobs, they'll work. Because that's how it is. They just want the dignity of working. Well, that's not how it is. If you watch Maury Povich or what's another talk gibberish show?
Who's that guy?
Jerry Springer. If you watch that, you can see that America is filled with people who have no interest in working. Right? We want to bypass the process of work and just go right to making the money. Everybody's a big picture guy who wants to make the money, and that other guy wants to work. Well, at some point you run out of people who want to work, and you have too many big picture guys. And they're like, the big picture guys are like, well, we'll just replace the poor people with robots. Well, at some point, the poor people come with pitchforks, and they kill the rich people. Okay, it's circular in history, so you can talk about and we brought up McDonald's.
It'll be really funny when the robots start getting pissed off.
Yeah, when the robots get pissed off. Well, oh geez, Ted. I read this week Stephen Hawking said that AI...
Maybe the robots and the poor people will unite.
Well, but that's the thing. Stephen Hawking said just this week, AI is advancing to a point where if they're smart enough to become self-aware, they would also know that they're superior to humans, that they could build their own... You see what I'm saying? And they said that the humans could program themselves out of existence. And who's to say that on planet 1, 2, 3, 4, that the next step of evolution is human, there are no humans, and it's AI. We're the Neanderthals.
That'll be so funny when that happens, and then you hear the Big Chuck and Little John laugh. We think we're so smart, and we're going to come up with these robots, and they're going to become self-aware and realize what we are.
Right. And you use the smartest guy, token smartest guy in the room, Donald Trump. Okay, we'll pick on Donald Trump. Donald Trump's like, I don't have to hire anybody. I'll build robots. Robots become self-aware. Donald Trump is like, I'm still in charge of you. Once the robots are self-aware, they're like, well, no. We're going to take 1 million robots. We're going to march into the White House. We're going to kill you. And even if you're able to kill half of us, we'll just repair ourselves and you'll still be dead. You see what I'm saying? And so it's a very dangerous, slippery slope.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever going to happen, though.
Well, I don't think it's going to happen, but Steve, and I'm not trying to be a jerk because a couple weeks ago I called us ugly, right? But compared to Stephen Hawking, we're dumb, right? So not only are we ugly, but we're dumb, okay? So compared to Stephen Hawking, Stephen Hawking is convinced that AI is coming. The question is, can we control artificial intelligence? Can we make artificial intelligence like, hey, we're all on the same team, and going back to the Pope, hey, you don't want to kill all the poor people and use them as batteries. We're all in this together. And do you think, and again, using Donald Trump as an example, do you think Donald Trump is like, we will let the computers run things, or do you think he'll be like, we're going to be the humans and run things, and you self-aware computers are going to be the slaves?
Oh, yeah. That's
right? Then all you're doing is creating AI, and you're creating another layer of the pyramid. And the computers are like the poor people. We're smarter than you. You're going to be the slaves. And then next thing you know, you're back into the Old Testament, and the computers are the Egyptians, and then the humans are the Jews. And you're self-replicating. What you have to find is something that levels the pyramid out, and we're all in the fact of we're all in this together. And nobody seems to address that. And I don't mean to pick on the Pope, because, again, I don't want to take the fast track to hell, but I question...
the Pope is a man.
Yes.
He's not God.
Right. And when he runs the Vatican City, running the Vatican City isn't even like running Cleveland. It's not like running Ohio. You see what I'm saying? He runs the Catholic Church, but he still runs the Vatican City. They still have to... Somebody has to come in and fix the pipes of the Vatican City. Somebody has to fix the toilet. Somebody has to run...
So the Pope has a lot on his plate.
Yes, the Pope still has a lot of logistical things he has to deal with. But I don't know if he knows how to deal with government. So when he attacked libertarianism, people would be like, oh, well, libertarianism's a fairy tale anyhow. I'm sorry, Ted. Am I talking about blaspheming the Pope too much today? But anyhow, so we're still banging on the news media, because I can't get over, and especially over at CNN, how they're not a news organization, they're agenda-driven organizations. Again, no 28-year-old comedian should be on the same level as the president when it comes to making news. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it's like, he's a comedian, he's telling jokes. He's not a newsmaker. Well, yeah, he is. He's telling jokes about the president. Well, now you're driving an agenda. And again, the name of the comedian is Hasan Minhaj. And I'm not saying he wasn't funny, right? What I'm saying is that CNN is barely a news organization. They take the news and they skewer it, which goes back to The Blaze, which goes back to Fox News. Just report the news. Well, if we just reported the news, then we can't make any money. Well, then are you a news organization, or are you like CNN should be like CNN, and then have a hashtag left-wing news, socialist news. And that's fine. Just be who you are. Don't lie about it. And like I said, some corporations...
Is like PBS, is that totally funded by like taxpayers, or is it partially funded?
It's partially funded, because you still have drives of, people, they have their pledge drives.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So it's hard to know, because it's hard to know what the right balance is. You know what I mean? Because you don't want the government giving you the news completely.
Right. Well, and then but
you don't want it to be strictly capitalism. Where it's like
right. And then once the government's giving you the news, like PBS, there's a fine line between the government giving you the news and your PBS, and the government giving you the news and your North Korea. And it's the same thing. People don't like Putin. All of a sudden, the Russian news agencies that don't like Putin, they don't exist anymore, and they don't have money. Because the billionaire who funded them is dead. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So the strongest news organizations in Russia are sponsored by the state, because the state pours the money in. And of course, well, if the state's pouring the money in, the state must be right? Because why would they do anything horrible? And again, we always circle back to Russia, but you're coming with Trump as president, everybody on the left is like, well, it's crony capitalism. Well, basically, that's what's going on in Russia is crony capitalism. Now, you say Russia controls America. I don't believe that at all. What I think happened is America moved more towards crony capitalism and Russia moved away from communism and closer to crony capitalism. You see what I'm saying? They're becoming more alike. And it's not because of Trump and Putin, it's because of the evolution of people's self-interests. Well, if you have a libertarian in there, it'd be like, well, whoever is president is going to be the ultimate individual who thinks he's a god. Well, then you put in checks and balances like the Constitution to make sure that doesn't happen. You know, when Obama circumvents the Constitution and then Trump does it, people are like, well, Trump can't do that. Well, don't circumvent the Constitution. Just like Trump shouldn't do it, just like Obama shouldn't do it. You know, that's the reason that the Founding Fathers set up checks and balances. But I just remember, and I want to get off of this because we're going to run out of time. Obama said it's hard to pass things through the Congress because of checks and balances. And he says he can't get his agenda across. Well, yes! That's why the checks and balances are there. Donald Trump...
So in other words, what he's saying is just give me all the power.
Yeah.
And everything will be all right.
Yeah. And it's the same thing with Trump.
Or have we heard that before throughout history?
Yeah. Yes. And Donald Trump said this week, being the president is hard. It takes up a lot of time. And it was on CNN. I don't know if it was on Fox News, but it was on CNN. Being president is hard. He goes, it takes up a lot of time. People yell at you. You know, I got things I got to do, and people want me doing stuff. Yeah, it sucks. When you are the president of a corporation, you can delegate everything. At the end of the day, even the most inane thing that everybody agrees on, President Trump, you have to take a picture and you have to sign this bill. I don't want to. I'm busy. I'm watching Young and the Restless. I don't even know if that's on TV anymore. But I'm watching Young and the Restless. Well, you don't get to watch it anymore. You have to sign this stupid... Oh! I'm Donald Trump. I set my own time. Well, now you're the president. You have to do things. You have to... You remember when they used to make fun of Obama? He would skip some of the national advisory meetings. He says, well, I got my phone. I'll just check it out on my phone. It's the same thing. Even the president of the United States doesn't want to be dictated to. They don't want you follow the rules, but I don't want to follow the rules. Which goes back to free speech, which what we keep beating in America, you follow the rules, I don't follow the rules. I want free speech. I don't want you to have free speech. Nobody...
Stay in there.
What was that?
Mom.
Oh, okay. Okay. So everything is under attack where we want the better deal. Which we want the better deal is all crony capitalism. That's all it is. Because I want to get on to something. Two more things. Right here. There's a I don't know if he is a senator or a House of Representatives. On April 14th, his name was Markwayne Mullin. Okay, and he was either a senator or a U.S. House of Representatives. He had to do a town hall, and people are yelling at him, right? And he says, I don't need to take this. He goes, I'm just going to walk out. And they're like, oh no, you're not. You're going to answer our questions. You have to stay at this town hall.
Oh, is that the guy who said you don't pay my salary?
You don't pay my salary.
Didn't he say something like my taxes pay my salary because I own a business?
He owns a business, so his salary, and let's just throw numbers out there, okay? Say his, and we're gonna dissect this real quick.
You know, my knee-jerk reaction is that why is this guy a representative then?
Right, because he wants power, but he wants the power to tell other people. But anyhow, let's just say he makes $400,000 just to have a round number, okay?
$400,000 what?
That's his salary
as a representative,
a representative or a senator, whatever his salary was, right? Or I don't even know if that's right. We'll say $200,000.
Yeah, I'd say $200,000.
Say it's $200,000. His argument, back to I am delusional, all these delusional people. His argument is my company made $1 billion last year, and I paid $1 million in taxes.
Yeah, so
if you look, the $1 million in taxes that I paid my own salary.
Yeah.
You didn't pay my salary. I paid my own salary. But that's not how it works. The taxpayers pay your salary. He didn't send in a check for $1 million and then earmarked it to Markwayne Mullin. You see what I'm saying? Like, people in power still don't get it. Yeah. And the very last speaking of speech, they were talking about they want all speech to go through government.
You know, the thing is that then the customers of his business can say that they actually paid those taxes.
Oh, no, he paid his own salary.
Oh, okay.
Again,
because what I'm saying is he gets his money from his customers.
Right.
So, in a way, those tax dollars aren't really coming from him. They're coming from the people who buy his product or his service.
And you are exactly right. But you have people who twist what the truth is. Now, people are calling Donald Trump a liar because, he said it was the most successful 100 days in history. They said historically that's not true.
Well, I'm going to kind of beat on this subject. It's like, people who are against unions, one of their arguments is, hey, the union doesn't sign your check.
Right.
The company does.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to get down to it, the company really doesn't sign your check. It's the customers who sign your check.
Right. And again, if there's no customers, then there's no company.
Mom, are you still in the bathroom?
So yes, you can twist your brain into believing anything you want. But the Markwayne Mullin thing is very dangerous because once you have people who are elected who don't think that the people pay their salaries, that's when you get megalomaniacs who are like, just do what I tell you. And now Markwayne Mullin, people are probably like, he's a genius.
So what that guy should do is just be a dictator.
Yeah. If there's
in other words, it's if he's a representative, the word represent is in his job title.
Right.
And he doesn't want to do that.
Right. No.
I don't want to listen to what you want me to do. Yeah. I'm just telling you this is the way it's going to be because you don't pay my salary.
Right. Exactly. And what was it? Oh, there was another one. It tied in, and now I lost my train of thought. Oh.
So, I mean, by that logic, whatever individual pays the most taxes should be the one who's in charge of the country. Though.
Right. But, and I know you voted for Trump, but a lot of people said that Trump only puts billionaires in charge. Well, if Markwayne Mullin thinks this way, there's a good chance that a lot of the billionaires that Donald Trump put in charge feel the same way. You don't pay my salary. I pay my own salary because I'm a billionaire, and this crappy job only pays $250,000 a year. I pay more than that in taxes. I basically pay my own salary. You see what I'm saying?
It kind of reminds me of there was an episode of MASH where a general said, "This is a press conference. The last thing I want to do is answer a bunch of questions."
Yes. Yeah, and that's exactly right. And what they're doing is they're changing the conversation, and they're changing the thought process. And again, I'm not saying Trump's doing a good or bad job. I'm just saying I don't think it's been the worst 100 days, and I don't think it's the best 100 days. But CNN, I saw an article that said worst first 100 days in history. Well, again, you're projecting an agenda. Well, it's the worst 100 days according to the liberal agenda. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And Donald Trump is like, well, compared to all the other...
Well, you know what's funny? I remember when George Bush was president, and somebody said, worst president ever. It's like, the people who were saying that, they probably couldn't even name half the presidents.
Right. Right. So you're saying worst president ever, but you don't know. Okay, how about this? We're going to give you a year, and we're going to let you research. And then you'll see, like, I think it's Warren Harding in the 1920s. 100 years ago was so corrupt that, like, they said nowadays that they probably would have, put him in jail for 50 years. He was the most corrupt president in history. Well, they're like, well, I don't want to read about Warren Harding. That takes time.
Wasn't he from Ohio?
Yeah, he was from Ohio. But before now Warren Harding's grandkids are probably listening and making a speech and say, yeah, Fred and Ted are liars. We're going to sue you because now we can't make money off of our great-great-grandfather's name. and people won't come to the Warren Harding Museum in Canton or Massillon or wherever the hell it is. You see what I'm saying? Everything's a scam. Everybody changes the conversation or slants the thing. And like I said, all I want to be able to do is say what I think. And I want to ask you what you think if I'm out of line. And like I said, half the time, I know in your head, you're rolling your eyes going, Fred is crazy. Okay? But that's what America is about. With the exception of the far right, where, we can't have Nazis running this country, or the far left, where, basically everybody's like Cuba, where we're all taxed at 95%, there has to be something that we can figure out. And the founding fathers had a good framework of it. I'm not saying it's perfect, but what I'm saying is they had a good framework. But you can't have people work and take away all their money.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't have fascism where you kill all the poor people. But you have to be able to talk in the arena of ideas to how are we going to fix the problems that we have and move forward. Where in America today, everybody wants to shut the other guy up. And that's
now it seems like if somebody disagrees with you, you accuse them of trying to take away your free speech.
Right.
It's like if you start arguing with what I'm saying, you're trying to shut me down.
Right. And that in America is very dangerous. And I keep reading on the libertarian websites, that's how colleges are. They're trying to shut out people.
Yeah.
Instead of, we're going to have a discussion in the arena of ideas, we're going to proclaim winners and losers. Losers, you don't get your ideas.
Well, that's why they said, like when Alan Combs died, they said he was a liberal who wasn't like that. He didn't want to shut people down. He wanted to,
have a discussion of ideas. And let me talk. We're going to run out of time real soon. So let me talk about something else.
Another thing, I know he died, probably, a month or two ago.
Right.
But it seems like, how we talk about David Bowie, and it seems like a lot of people liked him.
Oh, yeah.
Like that he really, really cared about people. I'm talking about Alan Combs.
Oh, yeah. My wife has a David Bowie book over there. That's why I was looking. One quick thing, because we're going to have to tie this up. Facebook killer. You remember the Facebook killer in Cleveland, Ohio? The guy shot a poor random guy in Cleveland, and then he went on the run?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the family of the guy who died was 72 years old, good guy, all accounts, right? The guy who killed him was in his early 30s, and, he was a jerk, right? Supposedly, allegedly. Now, the 72-year-old, I read something which is very disturbing. His family is not thinking about killing the 30-year-old killer. They're thinking about suing Facebook because they provided the platform that allowed his shooting to occur. Once you start suing platforms, you are restricting speech. Now, what they could argue is, well, Facebook didn't shut down the stream when they went to kill him. Well,
who could argue? The family?
Yeah. This is what the family's going to argue. The family's going to argue that they did not shut down the pipeline fast enough. But Facebook's going to say, we have 1 billion users, we would have to hire 1 million people to check all the filters. Well, the family would be like, well, give us $1 million as a settlement, and then you won't have to hire 1 million people. You see what I'm saying? So now it becomes a free speech issue, because do you shut down a free speech platform because there was a murder on their site? They didn't say that murder was okay. They provided a platform that somebody used for somebody to show a murder. You see what I'm saying? Now, again, we're back to free speech. You are going down slippery slopes. Is it cheaper for Mark Zuckerberg to settle with the victim's family and give them a settlement if it means restricting speech? Because then Facebook would have to shut down certain portals. You see what I'm saying? And they try to shut down like ISIS portholes. But again, you're coming back to restricting. And I'm not saying you shouldn't restrict it, but what I'm saying is Facebook is such a large, unwieldy corporations, they would need to hire 1 million people to check all the content that's going on their platform. Then all of a sudden Facebook doesn't exist because they can't afford to pay 1 million people to go through everybody's, and they go, well, we can look up code words like kill or logarithms that flag, if you use certain words so many times, but you still need the people to program the logarithms. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to bring that up. And then there's one other thing about free speech. I even protect free speech of James Cameron, who's an idiot. Okay? He's the guy who did Terminator 2. He's the one who did Titanic. He's working on Avatar 2, 3, 4, and 5 at the same time. And they keep pushing the movie releases down farther and farther. Right? And they asked him, why aren't you done yet? And his exact words, I wrote it down. It's an epic undertaking. It's not unlike building the Three Gorges Dam. Okay? Which drove me crazy because he's not building the Three Gorges Dam. The Three Gorges Dam is providing power for, I think, 250 million Chinese. Okay? That is real. That is real power for real Chinese people. Okay? Now, you could argue how many people died building it, the environmental catastrophe of the Three Gorges Dam. You can argue that. That's fine. At the end of the day, the Chinese got it done, and they said, we created power for 250 million or however many people it was. They got it done. They did something that was real and concrete. Okay? James Cameron is making a movie, so for 2 hours and a grand total of 8 hours, because he's making 4 sequels, we can watch TV. Okay? He is not providing a real service. James Cameron lives in pretend land. Okay? So when he says he's building the Three Gorges Dam, he's not. He doesn't realize that he is building things for your mind. And I'm not saying that there's not use in that. I'm saying there's no realness to it. And at the end of the day, the corporation, whatever film company's paying him, right? Avatar, I think it cost $250 million, and it made the studio $1 billion or $2 billion. So the studio probably gave him $1 billion so they could make $5 billion, right? Mm-hmm. Just throwing numbers out there. I don't know what the real numbers are. They're not doing it for the public good of America. They're doing it so they can make money. Mm-hmm. Why? Because they're a corporation and that's what they're doing. So crazy James Cameron can say idiot things like, it's not unlike building the Three Gorges Dam. Okay? So on that happy note, I see it's 3 o'clock. We got to end this. I'm Fred Hunt. He's Ted Coley. That's my wife. We have to leave. You guys have a great day. This is Beacon of Speech 54. Do you want to name any music?
Yeah, I do. Song of the day is Unchained by Van Halen.
Unchained by Van Halen. Okay, we're good.